It's Dean Chronicles. Ready for laughs and cheers? Oh, wait, he is alone now. Dean's a geezer, that's all. Find out more on the Dean Chronicles. Tune in, don't delay. Dean will try and make your day. Oh, poor Dean. R.I.P. Martin. Chapter 18, Reality Twists. The world is in fragments. Dean's vision wavered, his skull pounding like a war drum. His mouth was dry, metallic, blood probably. The scent of mould and rot clogged his nostrils. When he finally blinked himself into awareness, he was no longer outside the bystander pub. No neon signs, no flickering streetlights, no shattered bodies around him. Instead, he sat on a warped floor, his back against the splintered remains of what had once been a staircase. A broken-down house. Rain leaked through a hole in the ceiling, tapping against rusted tin pans on the floor. Wallpaper peeled from the walls like flaking skin. The fireplace was choked with ash and something unidentifiable. His breath caught as the memories surged in. Baz. Gone. Pinston. Gone. Fabulous Dean, silent and still in a ridiculous sequin cape. Butch Dean. Mid-charge, the sound of a plasma shot tearing the world apart. Something had saved him. He hadn't imagined that. The shot came from somewhere else. A precise kill. Butch's skull had burst like a melon, and Dean had been yanked backward into unconsciousness before he could even process it. He touched his own head. No blood, no wound. Still alive. Somehow. A creak, slow, deliberate. Dean's eyes jerked to the left. There was a figure in the hallway, a silhouette standing perfectly still, too still, framed by the outline of a door that led into deeper darkness. Rain glistened on their coat, which seemed to shimmer oddly, as if reality didn't quite sit right on them. A shifting blur obscured their face, a void where features should be.
"You're awake. I see the med I fixed worked."
The voice was calm, measured, like someone reporting weather or reading a death sentence from a teleprompter. Dean struggles to stand.
"Where the hell am I?"
The figure stepped into the room, though their face remained veiled in shadow.
"Somewhere safe, for now."
Dean reached for drink, forgetting there is nothing around in this shithole. He settled for his wit.
You dragging unconscious men into abandoned houses a hobby of yours, mate? Or just a lonely creep?
"I dragged you because you matter, not personally. Don't flatter yourself."
Dean narrowed his eyes.
You obliterated that tank of a beast attacking me.
It was simple child's play.
Why you saved me?
A long pause. Rain ticked louder. The silence stretched into something uncomfortable.
"Because you are the key."
Dean scoffed at this.
To what?
"For the end."
Well, that's vague as shit.
The figure stepped closer. Their coat rippled unnaturally, like it was stitched together from bad dreams and pub carpets.
"I've seen versions of you across countless realities. One started a beer fight that turned into a 3-day riot. One broke into a museum just to nick a sandwich from the staff fridge. One mailed his own shit to the Queen every year on her birthday."
Dean blinks.
More clones?
The figure sighed, long and slow.
"Not clones, you imbecile. Versions. From different realities, alternate existences. I'm from the multiverse."
Dean scratches his head.
Multiverse? Bollocks? I can barely handle one verse.
"You're not special, just common across dimensions and always a walking disaster. One Dean got banned from every pub in his hometown. Another lived in a tent behind a Lidl and claimed he was king of the car park. One tried to rob a bank with a baguette."
Dean raised an eyebrow.
Did it work?
"He got away with 20 quid and a few pens."
Dean grinned.
Legend.
The figure shook their head.
"More like Bellend. You're all chaos. Stupid, noisy, inexplicably hard to get rid of, like a cancer. And now, for reasons I still don't fully understand, you're the version that matters."
Dean leaned against a wall.
So what makes me different?
"I don't know, but something does."
Dean frowns.
That wasn't comforting.
"I spent cycles trying to track you down," the figure said, voice flat but edged with frustration. "You're not easy to follow. Not when time displacement and multiversal drift intersect like a drunk octopus playing with a time grenade."
Dean narrowed his eyes.
What, you think that's my fault?
"I was trying to intercept you in the rift. A direct snatch, but the moment I made contact, you slipped sideways. Got knocked clean out of the target stream."
Knocked where?
The figure stared at him.
"World War I.
Wait, you did that? You shoved us into the goddamn trenches.
It wasn't on purpose. You were mid-jump. I hit the signal too hard. You veered off and dropped into 1915 like a sack of bricks. That wasn't supposed to happen."
Dean's jaw clenched.
Christ, we thought the device glitched.
It didn't, the figure said flatly. I caused the rupture. You and your companion were caught in the shockwave when I struck the stream. You landed there. Once I'd finally found you, I planned to wound you.
The figure continued.
Not kill. A clean shot to drop you. Disable you, make capture possible. I needed you alive.
Dean's fists slowly curled.
But Martin got in the way.
The figure gave a glare.
He threw himself in front of you at the last second, took the hit. The blast was meant to shatter your femur, rupture nerves. Enough pain to keep you down until I extracted you, but his body absorbed most of it.
You shot Martin!
I was a fraction of a second too slow. No time to reconsider. That window was already closing. I fired. At least you be there with him.
Dean stepped forward, heat rising behind his eyes.
And then what?
Yeah, I reached the trench minutes too late. You were gone. Slipped back into the rift. Vanished across overlapping threads. Bounced through the bleed. I couldn't trace you.
Dean's breath caught.
But Martin, he died for nothing.
He was still barely breathing, but alive. I dragged him out before I left, stabilized him in transit with a med-eye fix. He's been in containment ever since.
Dean was stared and stunned by the figure's words.
He's alive?
The figure gave a faint, cold smile.
Oh, very much so. Just not very, how we say, well, he wouldn't give you up, wouldn't even tell me where I was heading to. I had to dig deeper.
You tortured him.
I extracted what I could. He's tougher than he looks, I'll give him that. Screamed your name, over and over. But he never broke, until I told him what I would do, and it would matter in the end.
Dean stood frozen, mind reeling. The figure's voice dropped to a whisper.
He still believes in you, after everything, the fool.
Dean thought to himself.
That's my Martin for sure. He always had faith.
As dust hung thick in the rotten air of the old house, floorboards creaked beneath Dean's boots as the figure stepped closer, silhouetted in the flicker of an unstable breech twisting behind him.
I've waited long enough,
the figure said, his voice cold and precise.
You've slipped through cracks, timelines, realities, but now, finally, you're mine, and I can begin.
Dean backed into the crumbling plaster wall, jaw tight.
Begin what?
The end times.
The figure raised a hand, and Dean jerked into the air like a puppet, yanked by invisible strings, limbs splayed, breath choked.
You're here, and I've got everything I need.
Dean strained against the unseen force, growling.
Let me go, you freak.
The figure walked closer, and Dean finally caught a glimpse of his face. Marred, scorched, familiar. Dean froze.
Martin?
The figure looks pissed and extremely angry.
I'm more than just Martin. I'm the exemplar.
He reached out, and reality itself began to twist around the edges of the room, wallpaper tearing upward like it was being sucked into another world. Then, boom! The back wall of the house exploded in a storm of splinters and fire. Smoke swallowed the room. Dean hit the floor with a grunt as the invisible grip shattered. From the wreckage, a shape emerged, tall, broad-shouldered, limping slightly. He carried a sawed-off shotgun and wore a smirk that could cut steel.
Not today, cunt,
the man said, grabbing Dean by the arm. Dean blinked through the smoke.
Who the fuck are you?
The stranger grinned.
I am Dean Prime, baby, and your world is gonna turn upside down even more. Let's go before this place collapses in on itself.
And they ran, the house groaning like it was waking up into something monstrous behind them. This concludes Part 3. Shit is about to get crazy. See you all in Part 4. Universe. Join us to continue the adventures by hitting subscribe. If you enjoyed our exploration, give us a like and share your thoughts in the comments below.